believe in retribution.
Marvel finally decided to drop the Daredevil Born Again trailer. They released it at D23 to everyone who went there and then has just held on to it ever since. And the funny part is, the series comes out in 2 months, so it makes you really wonder why they waited this long to drop it. But it's finally here and we get to talk about all the epic stuff that happened during it, mostly because this series looks like it's going to be brutal as hell, and I am 100% down for it. I was really hoping that Marvel would go in another direction where it wasn't just always kind of like PG stuff and we get a little bit more PG-13, rated R, and we're slowly getting into that, which I am so excited for. The fact that we have Daredevil beating up Muse in this trailer, showing some badass scenes, and also having just criminals doing some brutal stuff really sets the tone for what this is going to be like, and it definitely picks up the tone from a Netflix series, which is all canon and connected to this. I love the Netflix series, so it's awesome to see them continuing that, and the fact that we have just Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk back together. It's going to be some epic stuff that's coming from this. So let's break down this trailer where it starts off with Wilson Fisk and Matt Murdock meeting in a diner. And it also shows them flashes of Matt being a brutal person and then shows Wilson Fisk being a brutal person. So again, just setting up the brutality that's going to be coming along with this series and more of that darker tone. We also see that Fisk knows who Matt Murdock is and he knows he's a vigilante, which is all setting up the fact that after season 3 of Daredevil, Wilson Fisk figured out who Daredevil was, and they're continuing that storyline. And like I mentioned Muse before, he's going to be one of the main villains of this series, and Muse is a Daredevil villain from the comics. He creates art out of his victims, so for example, one of the things he did was use 6 Inhumans he had previously abducted and position them with props as they were performing tasks. And then he's pretty much a gruesome villain. He makes these art pieces with humans. It's very disturbing at times, so it makes me wonder how they're going to be doing this character. Especially in the comic story he was introduced to as well, he ripped out Blindspot's eyes. A character that was kind of like Daredevil's sidekick for a short time, where he went out looking for Muse, got his eyes ripped out, and well, had to deal with that consequence so that he became blind as well. But after Wilson Fisk became mayor in the comics, Muse broke out of prison and went around vandalizing numerous land spots in Manhattan with giant-sized, irremovable graffiti that featured different vigilantes showing support for them after Mayor Fisk had made a law that you could not be a vigilante in New York City, which after the Echo series and the post-credit scene, we saw that Wilson Fisk is going to be running for mayor, and in this trailer, he does become mayor. So it's definitely setting up that storyline from the comics where he becomes mayor and outlaws being a vigilante. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to deal with that in the series. And I bet you any money they're not going to finish it, or they're going to set that law by the very end, and that's going to tie into future projects for street-level heroes. And I feel like this is what could be bringing Daredevil and Kingpin together, is the fact that Matt is going to meet with him to talk about this vigilante law. Even though he's not vigilante at the moment, it's going to be him talking about it. We also see Foggy and Karen during the trailer once again, which apparently the idea for this series at first was to kill them off screen. So I'm glad that they're around, because I would 100% miss them if they weren't there. But when we hear that Matt Murdock has only been Matt Murdock for a while and not been Daredevil, I feel like we're going to have to exactly wait to figure out how long it has been for him since he put on the mask last, but at least they did show us a bunch of masks that he already has. Now, this is also where the timeline can get very confusing, especially with the different masks we see during this trailer, because we see the Daredevil Netflix one, we see the one that we're going to be seeing in the new series, we see a black suit, kind of like the Shadowland suit from the comic. We also see this Silver-esque suit, which could be a reference to his armored suit that he wears in the comics, which he uses to fight lethal opponents like Venom, or it could be a reference to his white suit that he got in the comics as well. But we also see the yellow one from She-Hulk. So if he hasn't been Daredevil in a while and She-Hulk took place after the blip, that means he could have just stopped being Daredevil after She-Hulk, and that would have been a few years at least from when he was last Daredevil, based on how the timing works in these series, because who knows how the timeline is going to be here, because it makes me feel like this series might cover multiple time periods, mostly because there has been such a big gap since we saw the Netflix series. They might cover some of those extra years with flashbacks. However, the reason Matt Murdock hasn't been put on the suit for a while is because he says he crossed a line, which most likely means he killed someone. And this has happened in the comics before, where he was beaten and battered from another fight, and he went on to be the hero he was. Trying to stop some criminals, he accidentally killed one of them while not holding back. So that made him step away from being Daredevil for a bit. So that could be what they're doing here, where he accidentally killed someone while he was fighting them, or he went on a brutal fight with someone and ended up killing them in the end, like maybe Bullseye. Because we do see Bullseye in this trailer, which could be from flashbacks, where Bullseye possibly went after Karen and Foggy because he knows who Daredevil is. and tried to kill him, which could have sent Matt into this rage where he couldn't hold back anymore, but ends up putting an end to Bullseye, which could be leading into where he went too far. But however, with seeing Bullseye, this could also be Matt putting on the suit again because Bullseye broke out of prison. So there's kind of like two things going on here, and I can't wait to see how exactly he crossed the line and what events led to him doing that. So there's really definitely things being set up in this trailer that's teasing what's to come, and like because it's a trailer for like a 24 episode series, there is still a lot of stuff we don't know, which I really like seeing because it adds mystery. It doesn't reveal everything right away, and it really sets up my hype for the series alone. This is my most anticipated series of the year, so I'm really excited to see where it goes. Plus, in this trailer, we see the first look at the White Tiger, the first appearance in the MCU, mainly based on Hector Ayala. No idea if I pronounced that right, so let me know how to pronounce it properly in the comments down below if you know, but he's the first White Tiger who has the amulet that turns him into the superhero, which gives him like strength, speed, healing, and I feel like what this character is setting up is more vigilante street level heroes. And this character in the comics was wrongfully arrested and thrown in prison, which despite his efforts from his lawyer, which was Matt Murdock, he couldn't get out of it. Which definitely makes me feel like maybe this is something that might have happened, where he got wrongfully imprisoned, Matt tries to be his lawyer, and then it doesn't go well, and the guy gets thrown in prison. In the comics as well, his character does die after trying to escape prison, so they could be setting up that storyline to introduce the next White Tiger as well, which would be Eva Ayala, which in the comics is his sister. So could be setting up that, could be going along those routes, and I'm very curious to see what they're doing with White Tiger, especially because the one that's more known is Ava. Plus, on top of that, we also see Vanessa returning in this trailer, where she and Wilson Fisk are having dinner in front of the painting that Matt beat up Kingpin directly in front, splattering blood all over it in Daredevil Season 3. So they're having those ties and showing us it's connected with these little things, which I think is fantastic. Then we have Frank Castle coming back, aka the Punisher, who looks like he's been on the run or in hiding or something because he has a full beard, he looks a little skittish, and he's kind of ready to fight Matt as soon as he appears. So it makes me think that something definitely bad happened to Punisher during all this. I wonder maybe that scene happened during the blip and he's freaking the fuck out because he doesn't know what's going on as everyone has disappeared and criminals are running rampant, just like how Ronin went around killing criminals during the blip. So definitely setting up stuff there, and I'm really excited to see how this is going to tie into the greater MCU, how a bunch of stuff is going to connect, and I really hope they kind of tie into some of the other plot lines we've seen in some of the other hero movies that deal with New York and just mention it. We don't need like them dealing with it, but like little mentions would help it fit in this MCU, and it would, you know, feel like a proper project. But I am really excited to see this again. I'm looking forward to seeing Daredevil suited back up on the big screen, and I can't wait to see what they do with this series, especially because it is like 24 episodes long, the longest series Marvel has given us at all, and we're finally getting some actual like regular TV. That's what it feels like, and I'm really excited to see what they do. So let me know, what did you think of this trailer, and do you have any theories to go along with it? Do you think it's going to take place during the blip at any point? Do you think one of the characters are going to die and that's where Daredevil crosses the line? Let me know. Let's talk about it in the comments, because I'm very excited to hear what you guys think. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like and the subscribe button. It helps out the channel a lot, and you get to stay up to date with all my Marvel and DC content. Now, I will be covering the show when it comes out in March, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, I will also be covering Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which does come out in a couple weeks. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you later when it comes time to break down another Marvel or DC project.